I've come down to the headquarters of the Department of Community, Culture and Leisure, Minister Cregeen. A busy day. We talked to you earlier with some men from Japan about the railways. But while you're doing that, at the same time, we were waiting for the outcome of the dispute with the busmen. That has now come back. Were you surprised that they have rejected your proposal?
I was surprised that the offer that was put to the drivers was actually not the best offers that was available. And I did ask the union at the time, when they were going to ballot, to see if they would put the two offers to them to choose from. But they decided to put this offer, which was probably more detrimental to their wage packet than the preferred option that the department had.
Let's go back on this. What were those two options?
The department has to make a saving because of the budgetary cuts, and we were asking to remove the paid lunch breaks. Now, the paid lunch breaks are worth in excess of £300,000, and we were going to remove the paid lunch break, which would have equated to about £3,200 per man. We spoke to the union and the bus drivers' representatives, and we said to them, this is a predicament that the department is in. We need to make these savings. If you can find any way to get this amount of savings, you know, we would listen to them. The bus drivers then came back to us and gave us a proposal which would have equated to the full amount of savings required because of efficiencies and other measures, but it would have only affected the bus drivers to the amount of £1,400 a year approximately. But unfortunately the union decided not to put this to the members, and they voted on this.
Are you saying that the union put the one that was going to cost them £3,200 personally loss, yes, against one that would be about 1,000 loss? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Are you surprised then that was...
I am surprised, because I wrote to all the bus drivers in August, and I pointed out the whole situation, where we started from, and this has been going on since February, before my time in the department. And so we've gone through the negotiations. I said, well, we're going to start off with the negotiations. We needed these savings. Your representatives came back to us and said, we can make those savings by this measure rather than just removal of the lunch break. If we could not come to an agreement on that, we would still carry on with our negotiations, but ultimately it would end up with 90 days notice. Similarly, we were very much aware that we carry on negotiations with them. If we don't come to an agreement, we are very much aware that they can ballot for strike action. So I think both sides knew the process, but I was setting it out for those members, and I was trying to inform our staff what the situation was. So we haven't actually offered or given any of the members of staff 90 days notice.
But, I mean, going back on this timeline, you only in the job, it seemed like minutes, and you were...
One day.
Threatening them with...
No, I wasn't threatening them.
Well, that's how they read it.
Well, I can't see... It actually said in the letter, this is not giving you 90 days notice. I don't know how much clearer I could put it, that wasn't giving them 90 days notice.
Do you regret that letter going out so quickly, though, in that time?
No, because I was informing the staff that there was this other offer on the table. Because I was getting messages back from some drivers that they didn't know it was there. So I feel there was a void in information, possibly from the union, to tell their drivers what the two offers were.
So you didn't do enough to get the message across?
We did. We wrote them. The union was saying, this, we're threatening them. We weren't threatening. We were advising your members, who are our staff, what the situation is. And unfortunately, our preferred option, which is the one that the drivers originally tabled to us, was not the one that was balloted on.
I mean, the unions unusually have said they don't think they have public support on this. Is this why you're gunning for them so much?
No, it's not. We are stuck in a budgetary situation, and we have to try and provide a service with a certain amount of money. We are trying to address some of these terms and conditions. I'm not aware of many people who actually have paid meal reliefs. I don't know whether you get paid meal reliefs, but I don't.
Where does this all end? Are you going to have to then threaten the drivers now with dismissal?
The drivers were fully aware that we have a process to go through. They have asked us to go back to the table. We will do, but we have to bring these savings in from the 1st of October.
Will you threaten dismissal?
We will ultimately, if the drivers decide to go out on strike, or if we cannot come to an agreement with them, we will have to issue them with 90 days notice that we will be changing their terms and conditions.
So when they go into any more negotiations, that is your point, and it's a very clear point you've made there.
It is.
You can, if you don't agree, you will be technically sacked or potentially sacked.
And what we've said is we will give you 90 days notice of change of terms and conditions, and those drivers who wish to continue with employment with the department will come back under the new terms and conditions with the full continuation of service, but just a change in terms and conditions.
Do you think bus drivers in the Isle of Man are overpaid?
I think we have some very good bus drivers on the Isle of Man, and ultimately they are paid very well for.
Are they overpaid?
Compared to other places, yes, we've got some very good terms and conditions which have been negotiated over many years through good times where it has been, the Isle of Man has been able to afford them, and we cannot afford them anymore.
I think people's perception is out there that, you know, okay, they were good times, but it seems that it's like TV unions, you know, around a certain time in the 70s were getting whatever they wanted almost, and getting better and better terms. Is that what's happened here? I mean, getting the paid lunch breaks does sound to a lot of people unusual, but are you blaming them, or was it past leadership to blame?
As a past union representative, you go in and you talk to the management and you get the best deal that you can. Ultimately, it is those at the top who have agreed the terms and conditions that have made that agreement. And at the time, it was probably affordable. We are currently in the situation that it is coming down to we either change these terms and conditions, otherwise we have to lose people. My main aim is trying to keep people employed. I do not want to be laying people off. I know the effect this will have on their families, and it is a concern to me. This is why this option is probably the least harmful of any that we can do. I don't want to be in the situation where we have the bus drivers on the same terms and conditions and then have to lay off some because we have no money to be able to afford to pay the rest. And that's the situation the department will be in.
You're getting ready to privatise, aren't you?
No, no. Why would we be getting ready to privatise? Our budgets, you will know yourself that across government the budgets have been cut. We have lost a significant amount of our income. We have to live within our means. We cannot continue to live on income that we do not have. We are in a situation where if we don't get this right now, generations to come will suffer for not tackling the problems we have now. And it's what we have to do.
I presume you're keeping an eye on what's happening with Channel Islands, because I mean they do privatise their systems and they've just renegotiated, and new companies have come in and let, you know, cheaper pricing yet again, and the bus drivers have been told again there, you take it or leave it, sort of thing. I mean, isn't this where you are going? Corporatisation, then you might want to call it, but it's definitely moving it into some sort of system away from direct government control.
The scope of government report is something that affects this department greatly, and we have to investigate how we continue to provide a service to the public, because we are public service provider, and you know, which is more important, having very well paid staff who have got very good terms and conditions and no service, or providing a service to the public. You know, it is about public service.